This is HMLA News. Welcome to Don't Panic with your hosts Hannah Loera
and Jessica Mick.
Today we're going to be talking about how to survive pre-AP chemistry. One of the most important things you can do in being part of pre-AP chemistry is taking notes. It sounds really simple, but you'd be surprised how many people just sit there and looking at the blank piece of paper, wondering why they're not smarter.
Yeah, and you'd see it happens more times than you would expect, but if you're following along with the notes, we can guarantee it really will be helping you in your class. The next thing we really recommend you do is be engaged in your labs, because it's so easy for you to watch your lab partner just do the entire thing, because someone's gonna do it, but I promise you if you're being engaged in your lab, you will find that you'll be learning a lot more about the concepts and better understanding your class.
Another important thing is the value of an organized notebook.
Yes.
A real easy test to do is like at DQ, where they take the cone upside down and see if any ice cream falls out. Do the same thing with your notebook. Hold it.
And that's a perfect example of what we don't want to happen.
So once you have everything glued in, make sure you can read through everything clearly.
Yes.
It's very easy to keep an organized notebook, and it makes test reviews that much more simple.
Yes, and always be sure that you go through and update your table of contents, so if you need notes later on in the year, you can always find them easily.
Another important step is how important homework is. It sounds like a cliche, it also sounds extremely boring, but you'd be surprised how beneficial it is. This is what is going to be on your test. If you know what you're doing on the homework, you'll know what you're doing on the test.
Yeah, and I think we all want to know what's on the test, so just do the work and you'll be good. And then we also really want to emphasize how important it is to stay focused in class, because in this class we sit and take notes, but it's easy for you to zone out, to be on your phone, to be wasting your time, but that's not what you want to be doing. If you sit there and participate, stay engaged, as long as you're focused, you'll be learning, and it'll be a good time for everyone.
It's especially beneficial that you use answer keys wisely. If you have the answers to it, that doesn't mean you just copy it down and hope somehow you've magically soaked up the knowledge. It's pivotal that you actually understand what is going on. If you want to write down the answer and work backwards, that's perfectly fine. Or maybe you get an answer that's completely different than the one on the key. That's why it's great to go and ask questions before school.
Yeah, what's just important about the process of homework, the reason it's so important, is to make sure that you are learning the stuff and that you really understand it. So consider your homework a way to check your knowledge, and be sure not to abuse the key, because it is a really nice tool if you use it wisely. And then also, another important thing is going to review in the morning and ask questions. Mr. Cheery is there to help, and he's happy to answer any of your questions. So don't be afraid to ask him things that you're not understanding or confused on.
And now we're going to take you to a very special segment where we get to color. Yay! Welcome to my DIY tutorial on how to make colorful notes. It's really simple. When looking through your spiral, it's very easy to get lost up in the pages and pages and pages of black and white. So I recommend giving it a pop of color, and it's a good way to separate your units. So, our colorful notes. The first step you want to do is summarize. Keep it short, keep it concise. It's very easy to get bogged down in the little specifics. Write 1 or 2 words at a time and keep it going. The next thing you want to do, draw cute pictures. Have it to do with something in the concept. So, I would probably draw a few graphs when talking about exothermic and endothermic. Or maybe I'm talking about titration curves, and so I'm gonna draw cute little S's. Obviously label them, don't just draw a random picture like I just did, but you get the idea. Just remember that it's one test. You just have to work hard and hope for the best. Grades are not the most important thing. Take care of yourself. And ultimately remember, you can do it.
Hello there, we're back with Don't Panic, and now our next tip is to make sure that you're always prepared at the beginning of class. So make sure you have your pencils ready, your spiral open, you want to have a periodic table, and most likely a calculator. So just make sure you have all the necessary materials for that day. And now we'll toss it over to Erica Anglin, and she'll be teaching you how to be prepared for your test.
Thanks guys, now I'm going to tell you how to get the best grade possible on a test. First of all, look over all your notes and labs multiple times before the test, because the one time you looked at it in class is not going to be enough to get the material down. Also, do all your homework, because those practice problems will be very helpful, and the due dates for those can be found on the calendar on the website. Also, make sure you look over the questions that you missed on quizzes leading up to the test so that you can know how to do what you did wrong the first time. Also, after you take the test, make sure you do corrections because that can raise your grade even if it's just by a little bit. Thanks, back to you guys.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Don't Panic, and that's how you should survive pre-AP chemistry.
Join us next week as we teach you how to survive WAP. Step 1, you don't.